So what inspired this piece?
A few things. I've been thinking about the coconut for a while. The coconut. And I remember you saying it makes me madder than it makes you. But I remember being a child and having people say that you're sturdy because you have this accent that doesn't belong in the color township. And this idea that you have to be defined by this place that you've been given in society. And when I read about coconuts or people talk about coconuts, I see that and I see the wrongness of it. How limiting it is to expect, because you have a certain body, because your mother is a certain religion and presumably a certain race, and your dad is presumably a certain race, that decides how you speak, that others get to decide, not you, and you feel shame for just being who you are, who you want to be in the world. It's not even an idea of yourself that is about being above yourself. But when people talk about coconuts, really what they're saying is that this person is getting way above their station. And they don't know that they were above their station. And by being way above their station, really they're betraying us. Because their place is down here at the bottom with the rest of us. And otherwise, if they don't know that that's their place, then they should just shut up. And it's unfair. It's unfair to do that. It's unfair in the way it limits people. It's unkind. And it's just really, really cruel. So that's where it comes from.
So what don't we get? You say, I don't think we get it in your piece. What don't we get?
Well, we don't get that apartheid was about limitations, imposing limitations, and imposing limitations based on bodies. If we really want a post-apartheid society, we need to find a way to ameliorate those limitations, to take away the things that limit us. We should find a way that every child in this country gets the same kind of education, and whatever accents they're all going to turn up with, that's the accents that of post-apartheid South Africa. We don't get that it wasn't about exchanging black solidarity for white solidarity, or black economic power for white economic power. It was about the right to be human, about the right to transcend the conditions imposed by lawmakers somewhere who want to carve out power for certain sections of society at the expense of others. We don't get that apartheid was about a certain kind of liberation for all of us, not just black people. Not just black people. It was about a liberation from inhumanity, from a lack of empathy, from a socially sanctioned forms of cruelness and stigmatization. And if we keep throwing racial slurs in different veins at other people, then they win. The people who tell you who you can be based upon where you were born and what color folk you were born to, they win. They win. It's very idealistic. I know this.
Say something about whiteness and blackness as lies.
Yeah, I mean, we learn how to be different things, right? So once upon a time, during apartheid, a white man could be called a kafirbuti, for instance, right? For loving black people, for betraying his race. What that tells you is that to be a white meant certain kinds of associations. It meant certain kinds of behaviors. It meant if a real white does not befriend black people, does not have black friends, does not care for black people. But it also tells you something else. In the very possibility of the kafirbuti or whatever existing, tells you that these are not natural conditions. If you need to enforce something, it does not mean it means that this thing that you're enforcing is not natural. It's a division that's made by people, right? So the idea of a white person or a black person is, there's an untruth in it. That who we are is who society helps to create. The very fact that the coconut exists tells you that, hey, this thing about race, where we think we know what a white person is and we think we know who a black person is, it's a lot more complicated than that. I like coconuts. I love them. They upset everything that some really creepy people worked very hard for. I love them. They're awesome. They show you the possibilities of transcending these really archaic forms of existence that are imposed on people.
So you are saying we are deeply discomfited
By the coconut.
by change.
Yes.
How do you get comfortable? How did you get to love coconuts?
How do I love the coconut? I think I was always a coconut. I was always a coconut. I was the middle class colored girl whose mother was suddenly poor, and so living in neighborhoods that she didn't comfortably fit in because it was lower class, people were poorer, and here was this little girl who spoke English when everybody was Afrikaans speaking, didn't know how to swear in Afrikaans, and well, she was scurvy, right? So she was above a station. And then one of my first jobs, most of my friends were white, and I affected that sort of alienated colored person thing with the accent too, and was somewhat of a coconut. And it didn't change the fact that I feel racial injustice keenly, that my politics are actually not in the wrong place, that it's just an accent actually, you know, it's just an accent. And I think when we start to minimize people, or we start to judge people based on the way they speak, the clothes that they wear, the color of skin that they're in, and we're expecting them to be who we think they should be, we're in trouble. It puts us in trouble. Because we're going to miss the black man that is cruel and oppressive. We're going to miss the white man who is kind and believes in social justice. Because we're busy policing racial boundaries by expecting all black men and women to be something or other. I mean, according to this logic, I cannot give myself the political affiliation of being black, really. Right? Because then all colors are coconuts to a certain degree.
Yes, thank you very much.